Simpson Literary Project, which is a joint effort of the English department and the Lafayette Library and Learning Center Foundation. So we do a lot of stuff. We teach underserved kids. We do writing workshops at places like Contra Costa County Juvie, Girls Inc., other places. We have a writer in residence. Most recently, it's been Joyce Oates for the last couple of years. We give a yearly fiction prize for $50,000. It's called the Simpson Joyce Carol Oates Prize. And we publish yearly, we're caused to be published through Rarebird, an anthology called Simpsonistas. You get it? I think it's Simpsonista. And so here in our presence, we have the executive director of the Simpson Literary Project, Diane. You want to stand up? Diane Del Signore. If anybody has any questions or anything about that. So here we are tonight, a momentous occasion. We're so honored to be having a conversation with Sean Penn. It's so rare that somebody can say with all sincerity and authenticity, this is somebody who needs no damn introduction. This is somebody who's one of the central, major, important artists of our time. And he's now writing novels. And the second novel has just appeared. His first novel was Bob Honey Who Just Do Stuff. And then his second novel is Bob Honey Sings Jimmy Crack Corn. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about everything. You can tell we're going to talk about everything because I'm way over-prepared. I have all these notes. I will not consult them. But being an old teacher, I always over-prepare and I always have a lot of notes. So you hear rustling, ignore it. That's not going to go anywhere. So, and Sean's going to read a little bit, and maybe we'll take some questions at the end.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Sean Penn, welcome back to Berkeley, man. So you've been on a tour, a national tour, and this is your last stop.
It is, yeah.
I mean, for now.
For this run.
And so, what's been your experience at Berkeley? Do you have any fond recollections of Berkeley?
It was, when I was living in Marin County, I was not a parent who could reconcile the notion of having a locator on my children. But I did know when my daughter was gone for a certain amount of hours when in high school that she was likely in Berkeley. And so then I'd come patrol and try to locate her on her cell phone call. Now, Berkeley starts for me as a child born in 1960, and then, observing the activity, the political activity here, and so it's a kind of as a young kid, just in the news cycle at the time from Southern California, and then trying to understand a little later in my teens, what had been the spirit of activism coming out of an institution of higher learning here, something that I never went on to do myself. I have just came to have a place in my heart for the excited curiosity of the place, but finally, where I land is it's where I would track my daughter down, and it served her very well. She's doing very well today, and a lot of the continued friendships she has were the ones that she made with students of this campus.
So one of my goals tonight, if you spend a few minutes on YouTube, on Google or whatever, tracking Sean's interviews with Kimmel and Conan and Colbert and NPR and Michael Silverblatt, you will have a lot of sympathy for him, for all the questions that he has endured over time. And there are some amazing questions. My goal is to not ask a question you've ever been asked before. So I will fail, but I will fail spectacularly, like Samuel Beckett says, fail again, try again, fail better. and I intend to fail a lot better. But so this novel, and this character, Bob Honey, fascinating character. This is an amazing, there's nothing like this novel out there in the world. It is, it's crazy, it's hilarious, it's detailed, it's impassioned, it's full of conviction. And so Bob Honey, you've talked about this. People have said, oh, this is absurdist fiction. This is 60s fiction, Terry Southern and Catch-22 and all that. And you pushed back against that a little bit. You didn't like the term absurdist. You prefer the term ludicrous.
Yeah.
That this is about the ludicrous, and it's about laughter. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I think that, some of this I've discovered the articulation of only in talking about the book, which is a difficult thing to do. And part of one's the process of writing a book, which is something I had put off for a very long time, is such that your principal intention is that people read it, and that they find. For me, it was in the hopes that a reader would find the music of it that would let them have the key to a book of clues, and so to then talk about that is tough, because it's kind of like the Frank Zappa line of dancing about architecture. But I think that I'm able to simplify it, and what drives me in the writing of these things down to kind of there's a music, and it's the same music that I would hear in my head. I became kind of a road hog once I got a driver's license at 16, and was able to convince my parents that it was okay for me to take a spin from California to New York and back, and to try to visit the locations that I'd heard about in songs. So I'd serpentine the country, and I did not find myself listening much to the radio or to music or to virtual music. I found myself that I had a rhythm of talking to myself that was really the aspiration of the conversation I wanted to have with others, and that I put off any kind of medium in which to do that until I finally pushed myself to write a novel. And this idea of what is ludicrous is what would make me giggle to myself on the road, a kind of ludicrous language, ludicrous alliteration that did represent the period of time that was the only period of time I had borne witness to, which was to varying degrees from 1960 to today. And to then take all of that and make the subject matter as current as possible. Yeah, so I don't even know what the original question was, but that was...
Me either.
Yeah, I have a tendency to go on a tangent.
Well, ludicrous, we're talking about ludicrous. So the canvas of this novel is about this ludicrous world that we're in. You make the point that, you quote very approvingly E.L. Doctorow, who says the first duty of an artist is to know his times, understand his times. So my question for you, Sean, is how do you do that these days? Is it through novels? Is it through journalism? Is it through travels like to Haiti or to Venezuela? Or through journalism, through social media?
Oh, how do we understand our times?
You as a writer.
Well, there's a couple
or
of
an actor. You can talk about it as an actor too if you want.
Yeah. So there's a few parts of this context. Part of it is who the hour is in our times. So if there is the hour of, a white male who's had a lot of privilege in America, there's the hour of this, I don't need to fill in the blanks. There's a lot of hours. And to find one that is genuinely at least a reach out from one hour to another is where we enter the part of knowing the times within which we live that we can contribute to. I've always thought that it was never so much, even as an actor also, it was never so much how much we could expand first what we do or what we understand or what we can share, but to recognize our current limitations was the greatest strength of anything that I could find to do creatively. And that then, once you engage in it, it'll open up parts of your own mind that are a little more expansive than you knew. And then maybe you're able to give that one more yard to get it over a field goal or to at least pass on a baton. And so that's where I find myself now and driven to do it, because there was no kind of in this idea of ludicrous times, I have decided to take my lane of the times within that I'm describing in the world and do what I rarely was able to have any control over in the work that I did, in film.